So let's talk about this perfectly clean car in the rain. I love it. I love thunder. I love thunderstorms. I have a feeling I'm going to get nailed here in a little bit. Welcome to this installment of Mike's Vehicle Vlogs. Thank you so much for joining me today. It was perfectly sunny and it was warm, and it's definitely been humid, so the storms are coming in now. And I managed to get my mom's car washed, got the spray wax on it, cleaned up the wheels, shined the wheels, vacuumed out the inside, cleaned out the inside, wiped down the inside. The car was immaculate about 10 minutes ago before it started raining. Just my luck. So in my vlog series, if you have been longtime followers, from the very start of the vlog series, I have talked about every single car that I have owned, just about every single car that my family has owned in one way or another. Haven't talked about this one yet, and this one, in a way, is probably the most special out of all of the cars that I have talked about. This car has history with us. I mean, it's the longest lasting car that my family has had. And I think it's time, well, since it was clean now, I think it's time that we talk about it. For as long as I can, anyway. Now, most of you subscribers recognize this car, the 2004 Chevrolet Malibu Classic. I get a lot of heat for calling it a Malibu because it does indeed say Classic on the hood or on the trunk. Now, I don't care what it says on the trunk. It is still a Malibu, but for this model year, and for the year after that, 2005, they were called the Classics. They were sold exclusively to businesses. They were used as fleet vehicles, rental cars, all kinds of stuff like that. Because in 2004, Chevrolet had rolled out an all-new Malibu that looked nothing like this. It was a lot squarer looking, but they kept this classic Malibu body for 2 more years exclusively for rental companies and other businesses that use them as fleet vehicles. So I don't care what it says on the trunk. It is still a Malibu in my opinion. You just have to add the Classic at the end of it so you can perfectly clarify that it is indeed not a 2004 square Malibu. We bought the car at 2 years old. It was in April of 2006. It had 38,000 miles on it when we bought it. It now has just about 106,000. And to be quite honest with you, this is probably one of the best cars anybody could ever own. I don't know offhand what the overall reliability of this generation Malibu is supposed to be, but this car has been absolutely fantastic in all of these years that we've owned it. Just absolutely phenomenal car. Now that does go without saying that yes, it's not in perfect shape now, and from here on out it's never going to be in perfect shape. But there has honestly been very, very little that we've had to put into this car in all of these years that we've owned it. We didn't really have our first serious mechanical issue with this car until the very end of 2016, when the high pressure transmission line finally rotted out so much the car was just spewing transmission fluid and eventually just completely leaked out. So, I mean, that was really it. And even to this day, there's things wrong with it, but nothing serious has really gone on this car yet. The outside of the car has, for the most part, been in really good condition over the years, despite the fact that, honestly, we never really gave it the exact exterior care that it should have had. I mean, up until, you know, a few years ago, when I started getting, I don't know, I guess I want to say like really good at detailing and stuff, this car barely got hand washed, never had another coat of wax on it after it was bought, and for the most part, I'm really surprised at how well a lot of the paint has held on. But you know, nowadays, at least once or twice a year when the weather gets nice, I try to take it and I try to really clean it up, and I put some protectant on it. You can see it working now. It's a good thing I got it on there because the rain is just beating off of the car and running down, so the rain's not sticking to it. But as we can see here, we finally have our first hole. And this panel started rusting really fast because the last time I really looked at the car, there was just a tiny bit of rust close to where this black rocker molding is, just at the very bottom. And over the winter and such, it actually, well, look, it's gone. It rotted out. Now, the rest of the panel looks really good. And even the doors, when we open the doors, the driver's door has a tiny bit of rust on the corner, but all the other doors have no rust. Now this other side isn't far behind. You can start to see some of the rust forming inside of the wheel well there. The outside, toward the bottom, still looks pretty good. And that's it. That's seriously it. This fender is not the original fender that came on the car. This fender is one that I replaced last year because the original fender had these weird scrape marks all the way down the side. So many scrapes it started to take the clear coat off, and the paint was actually chipping as well. It just looked awful. Went to the junkyard, found a panel with the exact color, and I know people say, some people have commented on that video that, look, you can kind of see here in the light, they don't look like they're the same color. Well, they are. It's the only gold color that Chevy had put out in 2004. It's probably because, you know, it's a different batch of paint, and you know, it may not be 100% exact to when the rest of my car was painted, but it is the same color. Anyway, 50 bucks. Tore the old fender off, which was a real treat, and put this one back on. And you honestly, you wouldn't know it. You really wouldn't know that this panel had been changed, and it looks great. Now, other things that we have wrong with it that are pretty well known with these cars, if you look at the headlights, we have water in them. Both of them. This one's worse than that one. I tried to fix that myself by resealing the headlights, but apparently that didn't work. Same goes for the back tail lights. They collect water as well. This one, not so much anymore. This one was always the worst out of the two. I mean, it would just collect all the way up so bad that finally last year I had to replace the actual circuit panel that the light bulbs went into, because they were so corroded that the lights quit working on the bottom. And as you can see, I tried to seal these up too. You can kind of see the white caulking coming around, but that didn't work out either. So my mechanic ended up drilling holes at the very bottom to let the water run out. Just to that one. We didn't do it to this one apparently. I thought we did. But I'm going to take this one off, and I'll take the headlights off at one point or another. And I'm going to drill holes at the bottom so that way the water can come out. Oh, look at the sky. I am getting rained on. I just showered too, so I wasn't completely dry to begin with. But anyway, this is a 2004 Classic model. I have the original window sticker at home. It's never even been put on the car. It was in the trunk. I found it a couple years after we'd owned the car. The window sticker was never put on. Nothing on this car is optional. Everything that this car has, from front to back, inside and out, is all standard equipment. There is no optional equipment on here whatsoever. If you want basic, this is as basic as the Chevrolet Malibu Classic is going to be. Over the years, these wheels have been caked in brake dust, and finally last year, that was when I discovered this Armor All Wheel and Tire Cleaner. I love it, but that hubcap looks nearly brand new. I'm just getting soaked. And the other one is pretty close. It's not perfect. Ah, jeez. It's got 105,839 miles at this time. Okay, so I recently, this morning, finally cleaned up after the winter. So all the seats have been vacuumed, carpets have been vacuumed. Last year I did the very first heavy-duty cleaning of the interior of this car. I scrubbed the carpets, I scrubbed the seats, and they really do look a heck of a lot better than they did for the last, all the years since we've had it. Same thing with the back. Door squeaks a little. This window does not work at all. There's actually a block of wood inside the door, and it's been there for years now because the regulator broke and the window went down. We actually took the switch out. My mechanic took the switch out so nobody tried to use it. But maybe one day we'll fix it. Don't mind that. That's a utility tub that I have to take to my mom's when I take the car back. But as you can see, the rest of the car is clean. Looks good. It's starting to rain again. And the nice thing is, as long as the car sits still while it's raining, it doesn't get dirty. It just gets wet. So what do you get with a Chevrolet Malibu Classic without any options? What do you get? Just the plain Jane Classic Malibu. You do get automatic headlights. You get power windows, power door locks, powered mirrors. You get cruise control. You get integrated wipers. Is that the word I want to say? Intermittent wipers, sorry. Intermittent windshield wipers. You get a CD player. You get air conditioning. That may be about it. That's really all I could think of. Automatic train. Well, the automatic is the only thing that was really offered in the car. Airbags, dual front airbags. I mean, you really got a lot of convenient stuff for it being just a base model. That's a nice looking sky though. Now the Malibu came into our lives in April of 2006. Before that, my mom was driving this 96 Lumina that was on the verge of completely blowing up. It had a blown head gasket. And we were driving with a blown head gasket for a long time before that car finally just was was finally just gonna give up. And around that time too, my brother was getting his license, and he was gonna need a car, and we were just so he had something to drive. It was more so just a typical hand-me-down, and it really got him about a year before I gave him my Alero and I bought my Aztec. And so yeah, that's really what my mom was driving before this. I kind of said that this car has a lot of like you know, like a special meaning to the family. Not really the family as a whole, but more so to my mom. But you know, there was just a lot of a lot of challenges that were taking place around the time that my mom got this car, and this was like another win in the book, I guess. My parents divorced when I was 16, which was in 2003, and my mom, you know, turned into this single mother trying to raise 4 kids on her own for the most part. I mean, don't get me wrong, my dad was there, but you know, we didn't live with my dad. My dad was a truck driver, so he really wasn't always around. But my mom was, you know, kind of the one who had to do a lot of the providing. And there was just a lot of stuff that my mom had to go through financially and such. And having the Lumina, you know, as old as the Lumina was getting, and the mileage was just ridiculous on the Lumina, and my mom was just really worried about using that as her sole transportation. And you know, I knew it wasn't going to be that reliable anymore, so I kind of took matters in my own hands. I started going from dealership to dealership, and I was looking at different kind of cars that maybe my mom would like. I remember one of the first ones that I went and brought home to her was this 1998 Lincoln Continental. This car was awesome. It was huge. It had a big V8 in it. It had all of this loaded stuff. It had leather, heated seats, 6-disc CD changer, I think. Some sort of CD changer. I mean, this car was just luxurious as all can be. My mom didn't like it. It really wasn't for her. That's kind of when I found this. I found this car sitting not far from where I had parked this Lincoln. So I asked the sales guy if I could take a look at it, and it was really, really sharp. I mean, of course, it only had, you know, 38,000 miles on it. It was still practically a new car. Now, my mom had driven a Malibu like this before because I had borrowed one from a friend of mine for a month while my Bonneville was out of commission, and I was looking for somebody who can redo the brakes, which never happened. The brake lines, which never happened. So my mom had driven a Malibu before, and she liked the way that it handled, so I kind of had a good feeling that she was going to like this car. So I took it home, surprised her with it, and she drove it, and she was, you know, honestly kind of on the fence about trying to get it because, again, with my dad gone, my mom had never really been through a car buying process before. She had never... My dad used to take care of all that. You know, my dad was always there to sign the papers and try to take out the loans and stuff. My mom really didn't know what to do. She was really, really nervous about it. And I just kind of was telling her, you know, you're not going to know until you try, you know? You're not going to know until you try. Kind of convinced her to give it a shot, and I mean, she thought about it and she liked it, and she, you know, she decided she wanted it, so I convinced her to, you know, just to try to give it a shot. And, you know, it worked out. I kind of remember when my mom and I were sitting at the bank getting the loan out for the car, and, you know, the loan officer was sitting there in front of us, and she told my mom, you know, that she was approved to buy the car. And then, you know, she got up and she said that, you know, she had to go get some paperwork. So she walked out of the office, and I remember my mom just started crying. And I told her, I was like, see? I had a feeling it was going to work out, and it really did. When we bought the car, these, you know, with the taxes and title and everything, I do believe everything was included. I mean, we got them really down as far as we could on their asking price. $10,400 for this car. And my mom had it paid off, I think she had even paid it off before the entire loan age was even up. I think it was a 5-year loan, and she had it done way before the 5-year mark. And that was another thing that she was really proud of. She worked her butt off to pay for this car, and that's why we still have it. I've honestly tried to convince my mom to try and get something newer, because as good as this car has been, you know, it's eventually going to be a money pit, and you know, it's really getting to the point where the car's not really worth a whole lot. I mean, the trade value on the car is anywhere from $500 to $1,000 now, and that's in as good a condition as it is. And you've seen it's really not in that bad of condition. But no, she really doesn't want to let this car go, and I understand, and I can't really be upset about it, because I do like the car. It's, you know, it's been a great car. We've all grown up in this car for the most part. This car has been to parties. This car has been to funerals. I mean, there's like a lot of stuff that this car has been through with the family, and I can kind of see why my mom doesn't want to let it go, and that's absolutely fine. But I'm just worried, like, more so worried it's going to get to a point where something really expensive is going to need done, and who knows if we'll be able to even get it done. It's just one of those things. The armrest has been broken almost the entire time that we've had the car. It never used to be like this, but something broke and it just wiggles now, and so I don't know. My mom never uses the armrest anyway. The driver's seat has gotten so flat over the years. I mean, there's the padding, like that's like the support right there under there. There's no padding anymore whatsoever on this seat. My mom has to use a pillow to sit on, and even when you lean up against the seat, like, you can just see how indented it is. When I sit on this seat, I get poked in the back by the beam that goes across here on my lower back, and it's really annoying. But I can't sit on the pillow. That annoys me too. So you can see how flat the seats have gotten. Look, that's right there, that's the bar right here. No support whatsoever. So I mean, these seats have been way overworn in. Just from us, obviously. It's amazing. The front bumper is only a couple years old. It's not the original bumper. When my sister first got her license, she was backing out of the driveway, and it was in the winter time. It was freezing outside, and there was a huge snow pile from where the snow plows would plow the street, and you'd have this huge mound of snow right over the curb of the driveway. And when she went to back out the driveway, she clipped that, and it broke the entire chunk off of the front bumper, of the original front bumper. The back window is also a couple years old because a tree branch in my mom's driveway, again during the winter, fell through the window and completely busted it out. As a matter of fact, we took it to a body shop, and the guy that had to come and put this window in, I honestly think did a terrible job, because this weather stripping for years, since it's been fixed, is not staying down. Not staying down at all. Matter of fact, it's getting worse. Look, it's barely even glued onto the car anymore, so that's upsetting. Not going to that guy again. I think when one of my brothers were driving this car, one of them did that, I think. And I think the original bumper had some sort of mark on it too, because somebody parked into my mom at a gas station. They like drove into her car when they were backing up at the gas pump or something. No big deal though. The hood of the car has a dent. You can't really see it now, but there's a dip in the hood somewhere. And I always hear conflicting stories about how it happened. There's the story that one of our friends when we were younger tried to hood slide across the car and ended up just denting it instead. I've heard that story. Or there was the other story where we were at the McDonald's, I wasn't there, but my mom was at the McDonald's drive-thru and a big chunk of ice. It's really interesting how all this stuff happens in the winter. But a big chunk of ice fell off of their awning in the drive-thru and it landed on the hood and dented it. So I honestly don't know which story it is, to be honest with you, but there's a dent in there somewhere. I think it's right here. I think that's where it's at. I don't know. So the only engine that was offered in the Classic was a 2.2 liter Ecotec 4-cylinder. And this engine's really given us no issues. It does need a motor mount. It's needed a motor mount for a long time now. Excuse me. And I forget which mount it is. I forget if it's this one here or if it's the one back there. But either way, the car vibrates a lot, especially when the air conditioning's on. You can kind of feel it vibrate. You can kind of see it vibrate now. And the only other thing that's been, you know, ongoing with the car is it burns oil. But I guess all of these Ecotec engines are known for burning oil. So every so often I've been putting seafoam in the oil to keep all of the timing guides and stuff clean and lubricated, just in case this car gets dangerously low on oil. I did check it when I was at my house, and the oil level's still really good. So, but other than that, she runs like a top. The oil is always changed before it's due, sometimes way before it's due. Still has the original alternator. We'll know. We don't know how long that'll last. Original water pump, original timing stuff. I mean, just about everything on this car is still original on the engine. And she still runs really good. You can see all the switches and stuff are obviously worn out over the years. All of the most common switches. And the door lock switch does work. See? It won't lock because the key's in there. But you can see the switch is really, really flimsy. Now I don't really have any video or anything with the car when we first got it, unfortunately. I mean, the earliest clip that I think I have is when sometime after we got it. It might have been a year after we got it, I don't know. And I wanted to see how fast the car would go if I just kind of floored it to the floor. But it wasn't that impressive. Now back then the car had about 40-some thousand miles on it. I wouldn't do that today. And I don't know if it's because I mean, even though the mileage of the car is quite decent, but it's the I just, you don't want it to be a bad omen when it comes to breaking the engine or something. I mean, the engine is well broken in, and I'm sure she can handle it, but you just never know. I wouldn't want to be the one to break it. Other than the transmission lines being replaced, it is going to need brake lines. What's that? No, I actually... No, I actually have a series. I document cars, and this happens to be my mom's car. And
It's cute. I want to get something smaller than this. My son always had Civics.
uh-huh.
And, this has seen its better days. He keeps convincing me, and I won't let go of her.
Oh yeah, that's kind of how my mom is about this, actually.
Yeah, I could see why. Now, see, that's in nice shape.
Oh, thank you. I actually just cleaned it up this morning too before it rained.
This one's getting surgery.
Aw. Hi, honey. Oh, hi.
Had a treat.
Aw.
Yeah, she's had that big ball.
Aw.
It breaks open. It's gross, and it opens up, and then it deflates. I
Aw.
feel so bad for her, but I've been trying to save the money till we get enough to get it done.
It's not cancerous or anything, right? No, you don't know yet. Oh.
Mommy died of breast cancer, and that's like the worst kind of cancer you could get because
Aw.
it grows under the
Hi.
breast.
Yeah.
It does have some lumps under there. I felt them, the ones pooching out. So
Oh,
the
man.
surgery altogether is over 1,000, and I've got about 800 of it put together right. Oh look.
Still needs the. It still has the original thermostat. Still has the original coolant. This is stuff that I've been wanting to actually get rid of for a while, and I may actually maybe do that this summer. I'll see if we can make that happen. Since I've been kind of dappering with tearing stuff apart and trying to do new things with cars, so we may do that also. Who knows? You know, I don't know. I really do think that that's all I have to say about it. Amazingly enough, the car still drives really decently. It does need a front end alignment. The car's never had a front end alignment. It's actually been, it's always handled pretty good. Now, I'm pretty sure the rain kind of took off my tire shine, so I might have to, I may put more on before I take it home to my mom. Of course, the rain was coming down this way, so it probably took it all off. But it stopped raining for the time being, and the wax has beaded all the water off, so it's drying and still looks pretty clean. I think she'll be happy with it. So that's really the story of the 2004 Chevrolet Malibu Classic. For those of you who have been waiting to kind of hear about this car for a while, since I've talked about all of the other cars that either I or the family have owned. Oh yeah, these wheels look a lot shinier on this side. I'm gonna have to put some more back on when I get home. But yeah, so that's the story behind it. That's why we're not getting rid of it. It's been great. So we'll just leave it as is, and hopefully it'll give us many more useful years to come. So if you guys enjoyed this vlog, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, don't forget to comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Also check out teespring.com/store/Mike's Vehicle Spotlight for all of your MVS and vlog merchandise. And I will see you guys next time. So thank you very much for watching, and take care.